Hello, everyone, and welcome to the English Leap podcast. My name is Jennifer.
And I'm Daniel. How are you doing today, Jennifer?
I'm doing great, Daniel. It's been a very inspiring day so far. How about you?
I'm feeling wonderful. I'm particularly excited about today's topic. I think we're going to have a very insightful conversation.
Absolutely. Today, we're delving into something that sparks curiosity and creativity in all of us: hobbies and interest. It's the color and joy that keeps our spirits high outside of our daily responsibilities.
Exactly. From the moment we pick up a paintbrush to the moment we dive into a new book, we follow passions that truly define who we are. But tell me, Jennifer, what exactly does a typical hobby look like for different people?
That's a great question. Hobbies can look very different depending on your personality and what you find enjoyable, but they're made up of the little things we do regularly for pure pleasure. Throughout today's episode, we'll be sharing our own hobbies, from how we discover new interests to how we integrate them into our busy lives.
That's right. And along the way, we'll talk about how having hobbies can help you feel more balanced and energized. It's all about finding what truly brings you joy.
Exactly. But before we dive into that, Daniel, let's make sure our listeners also grasp the key vocabulary along the way, right?
Absolutely, Jennifer. We'll break down those terms as we go. Wonderful. Let's begin with discovering new interests.
So, as someone who loves learning, my approach to finding hobbies is often through exploration. I usually browse online forums or local community centers for workshops or clubs that catch my eye. It's a gentle way to dip my toes into something new and see if it resonates with me. Then I might try a beginner's class like pottery or photography. It's a refreshing start.
That sounds nice. I tend to discover new interests a bit more organically, often through friends or documentaries. The first thing I do is research thoroughly to understand what's involved, and then, like you, I often try an introductory session. It really sets the tone for a potential new passion.
Exactly. Exploring different avenues first thing is such a good habit. After that, I might invest in some basic supplies if I feel a connection. Just something simple to get started before committing fully. Experimentation is essential for me.
Trying things out is essential for me too. I usually go for online tutorials or borrow equipment from friends. After an initial try, I take a few minutes to reflect on how I felt during the activity and review if it's something I want to pursue further, so I know what's on the agenda for future fun.
I knew the same. I check my enthusiasm levels and make sure it's something I'm genuinely excited about. It's always nice to feel motivated before diving into things.
Absolutely. Having that calm, curious start to a new hobby really makes a difference. And to help our listeners dive deeper into the vocabulary we've just used, let's quickly define some terms here. Exploration. This refers to the act of traveling in or through an unfamiliar area in order to learn about it. Jennifer, you use this to describe how you find new hobbies. Dip your toes into something. This means to try something new gradually or cautiously. You mentioned doing this to see if a hobby resonates with you. Resonates with me. This is when something evokes a shared understanding or strongly affects someone emotionally, is what you look for in a new hobby. Organically. This means in a way that develops naturally and without forced effort. I often discover hobbies this way. Introductory session. This is a first meeting or class designed to give an overview or basic experience of something. Both of us try these.
Those are some useful terms for discovering new interests. And now that we've got discovering interests covered, it's a great time to move on to the benefits of hobbies. Shall we, Daniel?
Sounds perfect, Jennifer.
Hobbies for me are when I'm most relaxed. I usually have painting sessions or journaling time, and I try to take it one stroke at a time. If it's a long painting session, I make sure to take short breaks to stretch and move around. It helps keep my mind fresh.
That's a smart approach. My hobbies are usually the most rejuvenating part of my day, with hiking or playing an instrument. But like you, I make sure to take breaks, even if they're just a few minutes. I find that stepping away from the activity to get a snack or just breathe really helps me recharge.
Exactly. Breaks are so important. even if they're brief. After a challenging workday, I regroup and prepare for some creative time. My hobby time is typically something light, like sketching or listening to music. I don't like to do anything too intense, as it can make me feel overwhelmed.
I agree. Hobby time is usually around late afternoon for me, and I like to step away from work completely. My go-to is something like gardening or practicing yoga. Keeping it mindful helps me avoid that end-of-day burnout.
That sounds like a great option. After some creative time, I reflect on what I've accomplished, making sure to appreciate the process rather than just the outcome. It feels good to wrap up those personal projects before the day winds down.
Yeah, I do the same. After a session, I focus on the joy I felt and try to carry that positive energy into the rest of my evening. Now, let's break down some of the key terms from our discussion on the benefits of hobbies for our listeners. Relaxed. This means feeling or appearing calm and not stressed or worried. Jennifer, you feel this during your hobby time. Rejuvenating. This describes something that makes someone feel younger or more lively. That's how I describe my hobby time. Overwhelmed. This is when you have too much to do. Jennifer, you try to avoid this by keeping your hobbies light. Mindful. This means being conscious or aware of something. I keep my hobby time mindful to avoid burnout. Burnout. This refers to the reduction of a fuel or substance to nothing, or in this context, feeling completely exhausted. I avoid this by engaging in mindful hobbies.
Those are the key words for the afternoon. Now let's shift to integrating hobbies into daily lives.
Absolutely, Jennifer. I love how practical these terms are. You can use them every day. All right, let's wind things down by talking about integrating hobbies into our evening routines.
Evenings are when I like to dedicate consistent time to my hobbies after a busy day. After dinner, I usually take an hour or so for painting or journaling to help me de-stress. It's a peaceful way to close out the day.
I totally relate to that. After work, I make time for my hobbies too, whether it's practicing guitar or learning a new language. Dinner is usually around 7 p.m. for me, and it's something simple but satisfying. I like grilled salmon with veggies or stir fry with rice.
That sounds delicious. My dinner is usually something quick and easy, like pasta with vegetables or a rice bowl. Once dinner is done, I always make sure to set up my hobby space for the next day. It's such a small part of my routine, but it helps me feel refreshed and ready for creativity.
Oh, definitely. Preparing my hobby space feels like pressing the reset button after a long day. It's a simple way to shift into relaxation mode. After that, I usually wind down with a book or a cup of herbal tea before bed.
That sounds really calming. I also avoid screens before bed, instead spending some time on a small craft project or listening to music. I aim to get to bed around 10 p.m. so I'm well rested for the next day.
Same here. I stick to a consistent bedtime too, around 10:30 p.m., and it's amazing how much better I feel the next day when I get a full night's sleep.
And for our final vocabulary segment, Daniel, could you walk us through the key phrases from our evening routines?
Certainly, Jennifer. Let's go over these important terms. Consistent. This means acting or done in the same way over time. Jennifer, you mentioned dedicating consistent time to your hobbies. De-stress. This refers to reducing one's level of stress. Hobbies help both of us do this. Hobby space. This is a designated area where one engages in their hobbies. We both talked about preparing these. Reset button. This is a metaphor for starting fresh or returning to a neutral state. I mentioned it when talking about preparing my hobby space. Wind down. Similar to unwind, it means to gradually relax after a period of activity and prepare to sleep. Both Jennifer and I do this before bed.
Thank you so much, Daniel, for guiding us through those key words and phrases. It really helps to understand the language in context.
Absolutely. It makes it easier to remember when we see how the vocabulary fits into everyday life. So, Jennifer, we've shared our approaches to discovering, benefiting from, and integrating hobbies into daily life, and touched on how important it is to create balance throughout the day.
Exactly, Daniel. Whether you're working, studying, or just trying to structure your day better, having hobbies that work for you is key to staying organized and feeling in control.
And remember, it's not just about staying productive. It's about taking those moments to relax, recharge, and take care of yourself.
All right, well, that's all for today's episode. We hope this conversation gave you some helpful insights and tips for your own journey with hobbies. Thank you all for joining us. Keep building those healthy habits, and we'll see you next time on the English Leap podcast.
Take care and have a balanced, productive day ahead. Your progress doesn't end here. To continue advancing your English skills, click on the next video or explore the additional videos we've thoughtfully selected for you.
Daniel, we've talked a lot about the benefits and how to integrate hobbies, but the truth is, it's not always easy. Sometimes we run into some challenges, don't we?
You're absolutely right, Jennifer. Maintaining passion and consistency can be tricky with the daily grind. Many people get discouraged when their routine gets tight or when they encounter a steep learning curve.
Exactly. For example, lack of time is one of the biggest obstacles. Sometimes work, studies, and family obligations consume our entire day. How do you deal with that?
For me, the key is prioritization and planning. I try to schedule my hobby time, just like I would an important meeting. Even if it's only 15 or 20 minutes, it's better than nothing. And if I feel like I'm losing momentum, I reevaluate my expectations. I don't need to be perfect. I just need to keep going.
That's so important. I notice that many people feel demotivated if they don't see quick progress. Sometimes we start a hobby with a lot of excitement, and when difficulty arises, the desire fades.
True. And that's where the importance of celebrating small victories and having a growth mindset comes in. Understanding that mistakes are part of the process and that every small step forward is an achievement. If the hobby becomes a source of stress, maybe it's time to adjust it or even try something new.
I completely agree. And speaking of terms, Daniel, let's take this opportunity to highlight some keywords we used in this new segment about challenges and solutions.
Great idea, Jennifer. For our listeners, let's go over some important definitions here. Steep learning curve. This refers to something that takes a lot of time and effort to learn. I mentioned that people can get discouraged when they encounter this in a hobby. Prioritization. This is the act of deciding which tasks or activities are most important and should be done first. I use this as a key to dealing with a lack of time. Reevaluate. This means to examine or judge something again, especially to make changes or a new decision. I use this with my expectations to avoid getting discouraged. Demotivated. This means losing enthusiasm or the will to do something. Jennifer, you mentioned that a lack of quick progress can lead to this. Growth mindset. This is the belief that abilities and intelligence can be developed through dedication and hard work, rather than being fixed. It's essential for overcoming difficulties in hobbies.
Excellent definitions, Daniel. Understanding these terms and how to apply them helps us think about strategies for maintaining our hobbies.
No doubt, Jennifer. And with that, we've come to the end of our discussion on hobbies and interests.
Thank you, Daniel, for guiding us through all these points. It really helps to understand the importance of hobbies in our lives.
Absolutely, Jennifer. It makes it easier to remember when we see how the vocabulary fits into everyday life. So, Jennifer, we've shared our approaches to discovering, benefiting from, and integrating hobbies into daily life, and now how to overcome challenges to keep them going.
Exactly, Daniel. Whether you're working, studying, or just trying to structure your day better, having hobbies that work for you is key to staying organized, feeling in control, and keeping your spirits high, even when obstacles arise.
And remember, it's not just about staying productive. It's about taking those moments to relax, recharge, take care of yourself, and nurture your passions.
All right, well, that's all for today's episode. We hope this conversation gave you some helpful insights and tips for your own journey with hobbies. Thank you all for joining us. Keep building those healthy habits, and we'll see you next time on the English Leap podcast.
Take care and have a balanced, productive day ahead. Your progress doesn't end here. To continue advancing your English skills, click on the next video or explore the additional videos we've thoughtfully selected for you.